your roof. It's the most important protection against nature for your home or your business. That's why I trust the experts at Exterior Home Solutions.
He's Grant Ramey. I'm Rob Lewis. This is the Exterior Home Solutions Fast Break on Volquest.com. And pretty easy night at the all. I mean, Tennessee forgot to play defense there for about 3 minutes in the second half. Otherwise, pretty solid performance.
It's weird to get out rebounded the way Tennessee did.
Yeah, a 20-point win.
40-26 or something, and I think it was 18-5 on the offensive glass, which is pretty crazy. And to be up 23 at halftime and really to be coasting for what, like you said, all but about 3 or 4 minutes of the game where LSU kind of went on fire there from the three-point line, and they went on that 13-0 run. It got down to 8, and Tennessee still closes and wins by 20. So it's one of those nights where Dalton gets 27, 7, and 6, and it feels like you didn't really notice him that much.
But Tennessee closed on a 7-0 run, which was important for some of you guys out there watching this tonight. But you talked about Dalton, and I mean, I thought you asked a good question there. He had 6 assists tonight, and you asked him if that number was a result of him, kind of figuring out how people are playing and what opportunities are. And I mean, that's kind of what I thought of it. And I think you can see he's never going to be a great playmaker, but I think he's seeing some of that. Where some opportunities are for teammates, consistently with what he's seeing.
You can see him adjusting with the ball and setting up defenders a lot more than he was, I guess, in December when he struggled a little bit. And now you can start to see him adjusting to get his teammates the ball when defenses are reacting to. I think he had 5 assists in like his first 10 minutes on the court.
He did, because I noticed it was like, is that a misprint? Is that
right? And we were starting to look up who had the last triple double or the only triple double for Tennessee basketball history. It was Tyler Smith, by the way.
Old enough, I was sitting right over there.
Like 12, 10, and 10 or
Grant
something.
was in 8th grade. Right. I was sitting right over there.
But I mean, Jordan Gainey, 18 off the bench, big night for him. Zakai Ziegler starts hitting shots just like he was in Kentucky a couple nights ago, picks up right where he left off. So there is more balanced production around Dalton while he's going for 27, 7, and 6. And it's, you're putting up 88, and like Rick was wondering, they could have scored 100 if they could have rebounded some of their misses.
That, and also they shot the odds out. Well, they shot over 50% for the game, but they shot the odds out from 3.
Yes.
And they were 9 of 14 from 3 in the first half, and then just 2 of 10 in the second. Really 1 of 9 until Jordan, Gainey popped one in the last minute. So, if they just hit a couple of threes in the second half, it's still 100. But that's nitpicking. Grant, the biggest thing for me was it looked like offensively there was carryover from the Kentucky game. There was carryover out of the gate. Second game in a row, they jump out to a 10-point lead before the first TV timeout. And, it's a small sample size, but, that's what caught my eye. The last game over to this game.
I think this was the first half tonight they had 50. I think that was the 6th time in SEC play they've had 50 or more points in a half, which for this Tennessee basketball offense, we haven't seen that in a long time.
I'm going to get Eric Kane to look it up. I bet it didn't happen a single time last year.
Right, and also it's probably Grant and Admiral when they were 3rd in offensive efficiency or whatever they were in 18-19. So for them to score it the way they did at Kentucky and to come back and just kind of pick up where they left off and win a home game the way you should have won a home game. Last time they were here, they got embarrassed and they scored 59 points and they didn't look like the team that they've consistently shown to be. So for them to respond, not only scoring points, but getting out to a fast start, getting out 10-0, and getting out 15-1 or whatever it was tonight, it's huge.
Yeah, it's big. And here's spoiler alert, because I'm right about this. But Grant, tell me, if you don't agree, in the last 8 days, I think Tennessee has shown us their floor as a basketball team.
Yes.
And I think they showed us their ceiling.
Yes.
The last 2 games, that team could play in the Final Four.
Right.
Tuesday night against South Carolina, that team's going home first weekend.
Right.
And the challenge is obvious here for Rick Barnes in the last month of the season. Is which are we?
Right, and that is, I think that's late January, early February college basketball, where you have those kind of nights where you're trying to figure out what this team is and who they're going to be. And we've seen a lot more often than not that they're going to be that team that shows up and scores the basketball and plays good defense, and it's really tough. And when they get what they got out of Dalton and they get something like they got out of Jordan and Zakai around Dalton, they're going to be a really hard out in March if they play that way. And they have a stretch on their schedule where it's A&M, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, where they got to stack up some wins before the final 2 weeks of the regular season.
Texas, we'll go ahead and segue into that. This kind of started a 6-game stretch where, Texas A&M, that's going to be a tough road trip.
Yes.
They've been up and down, but they're getting a little healthier now. That's going to be a tough road trip. Don't judge the toughness of that one just by Texas A&M's record.
Right.
But these next 5 games, Tennessee literally, could they could reel off 5 straight wins.
Yes.
I don't know if they will. You go to Texas A&M, you go to Arkansas, but man, they have a chance to really set themselves up well for that that gauntlet at the end of the year.
Yeah, this is when you want to kind of start working toward March, and everybody talks about you don't want to peak too early, you don't want to play too well too early in the year, and worry about not being that same team in March. Now start almost kind of like that South Carolina was like a wake up point, a wake up call, I guess, a kind of a reset, a hard reset for this team, and it feels like they've started that way in terms of response. What they did in Lexington and tonight. But to go on the road for the next two, that's going to be tough. But you got to find ways to win basketball games.
It is, and Tennessee's at a great spot. Auburn, as we're taping this, Auburn took care of business tonight against Alabama. As far as Tennessee's a half game back because they played one less game, but they're tied in the loss column now with South Carolina, Alabama, Auburn after tonight, and still have one game left against all those teams. So that's shaping up to be a great close, at least from fan interest, to the end of the year.
And Auburn still comes here.
Yep.
Alabama goes to Rupp. That's going to be tough. South Carolina, I think they go to Gainesville next, if I'm not mistaken. We were just looking at the schedule. I can't remember what it is. But
South Carolina probably has the easiest close.
It's going to be an interesting final, whatever it is, 5 weeks of the season to figure out those top four and who wins the thing.
Exactly. And Tennessee, what a difference 8 days make.
Right.
Feels like they're in a much better place
for sure
after these last two games. He's Grant Ramey. I'm Rob Lewis. This has been the Exterior Home Solutions Fast Break on Volquest.com.